movies for black girl nerds.
Demand them. Hello,
What's
John Boyega. Good to see you again.
how you doing?
Very good. Thank you so much. This is a wonderful film that really shines a light on some very specific things: the treatment of the military
Mm.
after they return, respectful rage, and the boiling up of misunderstanding of a very specific thing. Those were my
Mm.
main takeaways. Speaking of to misunderstanding, there's so many ways. There's a very clear message that's being communicated, and I thought of the times where I thought I communicated clearly and I was misunderstood. What are
Mm.
those feelings like inside of you when that's happened to you, and how did you bring those into Brian's continued boiling and boiling until it reached a sort of fevered pitch?
Um, I feel like I've had those situations in life where you might be misunderstood, and I get internally frustrated, but I get quiet because I'm kind of like it feels like any more words added to this is gonna further confuse the situation. So I like to go for a scenario that is more calming and makes everyone feel like they're heard. But in terms of Brian, that's a whole for me. I didn't. This is one of them roles I didn't take from myself anything. That John had nothing to offer. The role of Brian, I actually had to go through an education. Needed the support of my co-stars in the Colbert Harry and Michael K. Williams to just kind of guide through such a process in understanding the character. But once I had the research down and then I got the script, which is pretty accurate. Yeah, then it was about conveying this man.
Mhm. With that conveyance of him, again, that respectful rage, and he has a very clear objective, but
Mm.
in the midst of that, he's still polite and genteel, and he's good to the people who are stuck in just in the wrong place at the wrong time when this occurs.
Mm.
How what type of an exercise was it for you as a performer to kind of tread that line? One minute it's you have to boil over, but you still have to be mindful of the co-stars who are there to support Brian in a sense because they're in
Yeah.
that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just came in with Brian's energy. I knew that it was one man in a bank, and in my head, I'm like, I don't know none of you. I don't know Nicole. I don't know Selena. I'm just coming in here and doing what I need to do, knowing that that kind of causes that reactive energy that helps really inform your character a lot more. But I think it's just a devotion to Brian's story and his specific like circumstance, and which is what Abby gave me the opportunity to just get more immersive into who he is as a man, and that's what helped me in those moments.
Mhm. After spending time in other characters that aren't real life people and now stepping into the shoes of someone who did exist, is it a different exercise for you in learning and researching to embody this person? Or is
Yeah,
it a same approach?
it's the same to a certain extent. I mean, obviously, the point where I would be more imaginative and be filling out the roles would be the stage that is of significant difference. A role that is fictional, I'd probably be writing down, oh, I've got this idea for this role. Oh, this is what I'm gonna do. Oh, this is what how I want my hair to look. I might have all those freedoms. Whereas in this role, I have a law book. I'm like, okay, Jessica, Brian's ex-wife said that in moments like this, he is introverted. His voice is so quiet to the point where you can't even hear him. He's quite sweet. It's not always eye contact. He doesn't always do that. Sometimes he does kind of gaze at the floor. Those are all those details that I need to make the performance more nuanced, and so that hopefully you're not seeing me at all.
Mhm. Your lovely young co-star was marvelous. This young lady was just excellent. Working with young talent, how has that energized you as a veteran in her eyes? I'm sure you're Mr. John or Mr. Boyega, but just interacting with her because these child performers are so mature and
Mm.
their approach is totally different from someone
Yeah.
like you who's established. So how was that relationship between the two of you?
It was fantastic. I mean, I can only think about when I was their age and think I wasn't doing all of this or professional environment and stuff. Like I was in a tree somewhere. So for me, it's like it's nice to see that obviously there are young actors who are keen on doing the job, but also that they enjoy it. Because that's my main thing. I've worked with well, this is the second on-screen child that I've had so far. Imperial Dreams was the first. So I've worked with a few kids. So just to see that they have a steady, balanced mentality and they're ready to work and they're well behaved because I can't lie. I'll get a little bit annoyed, like, but they are well behaved, like proper well. I've never worked with a bad kid, so that for me is, it's good to see that we have those.
Yes, indeed. Well, this was a beautiful film. Your performance was extraordinary. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, my
Anyway.
outfit is very inexpensive today.
I love it. I was
That was
literally
bang,
thinking, I
that's what I
want
know.
that top.
Thank you. Thank you. I thank you both for your time. This was a very, very emotional ride for me. I have family in the military who post their career had some challenges with benefits. So this was very relatable. And just the overall feeling of being misunderstood by a machine that's set there to help you and help you live your life after you've committed so much to them. Kwame, beginning with you, misunderstanding is such a tricky thing for everybody. It bubbles up in different ways and manifests in different ways. What are the stages do you think that Brian has to suffer through this, trying to get benefits that's bestowed to him, and just how John shaped the bubbling up of this character?
I think a couple of things. I think that there are many walking bombs on our high streets, on our main streets, on the pathways that we use to go to work or get our buses and trains. And I think that we are living at a time where we are asking of ourselves and of those around us to listen to us, to hear us some more. And I think what John managed to do with this character was to tap into the righteous rage that sits at our hearts when a system, as you so eloquently said, cannot hear us, cannot see us, and does not reward us in the way that we feel we deserve. Mm-hmm. And the beautiful thing that Abby and John shaped was that I was sympathetic to that rage. I was sympathetic to the pain and the manifestation of it.
Absolutely. Abby, for you, we've had many stories from other veterans, and just even in the streets here of Los Angeles, there's so many of our military personnel and people who've made the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms of this country to receive little to nothing in return. In the beginning of participating in this project, where did you look within to throw yourself? Did you look at a place of rage? Do you have your own military attachment? How did the journey begin for you?
Well, like you, I come from a family of vets. My dad's a vet, my grandfather, my two cousins are Marine guys. My uncle served, is a lot of vets around me growing up. And I lived through my dad's struggle with the VA. He's gone from his Agent Orange. He's gone from being an athlete, very explosive, expressive guy to basically being wheelchair bound. And through the course of my life, and it's had a really big impact on our family. And I have so much more empathy and respect after living through this project, for our veterans and for my dad. And I just hope that the conversation that this film invites is one that allows people to see and to feel that righteous anger, that righteous rage, but also to let a little of the air out by just seeing, mm-hmm. by just helping.
Mm-hmm. What struck me, Kwame, about John's portrayal in the righteous rage, as you've termed it, is even within that and trying to find restitution, he was a character that we empathize for. He wasn't evil. He wasn't exacting revenge on people individually, but wanted attention drawn to a very specific machine. What do you think is the balance between maintaining that rage for an incident, but still not letting it blind you to everyone else around you, just trying to maintain that?
I think that's a really hard question to answer sincerely. And because I think that we all find ourselves at different parts of our mental health journey. And but one of the things that both Abby and I found ourselves very attracted to was how well-mannered he was, mm-hmm. and how kind he was to those around him. and also his intellectual prowess. He was, and this is one of the reasons I found myself drawn to the project. He went, this is a battle against the system. I don't want $892 from the bank. I don't want it from someone else's pocket. I want it from the system. I want the thing that I'm owed. And it was, and so really to answer your question, there are no answers as to how you find that balance. But my mother once said to me, you have to hate the sin and not the sinner. And I think that was one of the things that Abby and I danced with when constructing the screenplay.
Absolutely. This is a beautiful film. It's sad, but it is meaningful and educational. And hopefully, like you mentioned, Abby, it will make others more sympathetic and open their eyes to the military and what our veterans have to undergo when they return. Thank you both for your time in this project. It is wonderfully produced, and John was amazing in it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wonderful questions.
Take care.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.